In this video, we're going to focus on monogram lettering. And to access the monogram features, you just go to the text tool. And when you click on the text tool, like here in the upper left, you'll go to the M that stands for monogram. The other way you can access it is from the floating toolbar here. If you see the text tool, and just click on the M for monogram. And once that's selected, you can see I have an A next to my cursor, letting me know that a text feature is about to be input into the design when I click. So I clicked, and now you can see that I have an ABC on the screen. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to go back and select it, and I'm going to go into the edit text mode here so that you can see the edit options. But in the properties box in the upper right, you'll see the different options that you have. The thing to keep in mind with monogram lettering is the middle letter is larger than the left or right letter. So when you're working with a monogram tool, you can change it to whatever you need it to be. So I could do DAJ and hit apply, and it's going to keep in that same kind of format. You can adjust the height. If I want to make this like 1 inch as opposed to 0.79, I can do that. I can also make it bigger in other ways too. This isn't typically how I resize lettering. You can work on the spacing, but I like to do that a different way as well. And the width, you can do slant, so you can have it kind of more italicized if you want. So if I went in here and typed in 10, hit apply, you'll notice it slants it to the right. And I can do a -10 and it'll slant it to the left. Or I can put it back at 0 and hit apply. So some of the things that make working with monogram fonts different is the options that you get with it. So you have your fonts right here, and you can click the drop down arrow, and these are the different fonts available for text. Now, the one thing that I want to point out is watch as I hover over in this area right here. Notice how some of them have shapes as well. So like right there, you can see that there's some shapes around it. We call those decor, and you have the option to select different versions if you're working with one of those fonts. So if I go to this engraved, you'll notice that this is grayed out for decor. But if I go to one that actually shows there the little elements next to it, if I click on this garden monogram and hit apply, you'll notice that it just looks like a standard font. But what I have here is the ability to change the decor. So these are different for each font. So you don't see the same ones every time. So if I want to use this one right here and I hit apply, it automatically gets it to fit within that area. So I can change the letters if I want to anything. I'm just going to go back to ABC, hit apply, and you'll notice that it automatically fits inside of there. So the decor, you can select different decor options and it will apply that, but it will always fit inside of that area. So just to show you, if I go to a different one, like this one, and hit apply, let's take a look at some of the decor. You can see those are pretty similar, but some of them are going to be different. So it just depends on the font that you're selecting. So let's go to like this one, for instance, monogram 1, hit apply, and you can see the decor options are much different for this font. So it's a pretty cool feature when working with monograms, that if you're working with one that has decor options, you can definitely utilize those. And it just makes it a lot easier and allows you to stylize your monograms without having to do much work at all. In the text extra properties tab, it's very similar to the standard text. So if you want to learn more about these options, just watch standard text, because there's no difference between these. So coming back to this lettering, notice that with it selected, this is a regular selection mode. It's really only focused on this area. It's kind of ignoring this outer outline. If I go to right click, actually I'm in text edit mode here, so I can select a letter, or I can work on the spacing too a little bit. But when you're working with a monogram, these automatically are spaced and they're made to work with each other. So there's not a lot that you would want to adjust here. You can, like for instance, I click on this rectangle here, this orange one, and I can make that letter bigger if I want. I could rotate it a little bit. Whatever I wanted to do. It's just kind of up to you. I can undo that and bring it back to normal there. So working with monograms it's pretty easy to do inside the software. The biggest difference is that the properties panel is a little bit different, and you do have different font selections that you can choose from, and not all the fonts are available under here. It's basically the ones that work well for doing a monogram. Those are the ones that will actually appear. So it is kind of designed to work with fonts that work well with monograms. So that's another nice thing. You can, if you want to use a different font, just use the standard font tool and you can arrange it or create text in the same kind of a manner as a monogram. It's just using the monogram tool. It's focused on specific ones, and you get these nice decor features that aren't available any other way. So that's how you work with monogram text. It's really simple to do, and there's a lot of different options available.